Hi, everybody. I wanted to create a channel update and just kind of personally talk to my group of subscribers here on this channel. It's been a little while. I started this channel over a year ago and started with a lot of ambition to try to, with some urgency, almost create a free library of optimal mental health education. And I have sort of some core topics covered, like anxiety and depression and anger and nutrition and sleep and breathing techniques. And then I've just been really busy lately with motherhood. So I feel a little less urgency, and I want to keep chipping away at creating content that'll be useful to anybody who can possibly find my channel on YouTube, just knowing that there are so many people in need right now, especially parents and children. There are so few providers, and that treatment is expensive, and just financially it's out of reach for so many families. And so trying to find some meaning in my life through a way to offer my services, my knowledge to the greater good, to more people for free, on demand. Maybe you only have 5 or 10 minutes at a time to be learning and getting some new ideas and skills. But I just hope to be able to offer the work that I do for free to anybody who can find it. If you've watched my channel trailer, you'll know that I have been going through a big transition in my life since my sister's death. So it's spring here of 2024, almost 4 years to the day that my sister went into medical crisis with colon cancer and began her 2 years and 2 months journey through cancer and dying. She was 45 years old, and she was one of my very best friends. Erin's death definitely impacted my life and really my goals and my focus. I've always been kind of a workaholic mindset of just very busy, doing lots of clinical work, really saying yes to every professional opportunity, homeschooling my kids, trying to grow my own food and cook from scratch most days. And I really was living in a kind of a frantic way, I would say. Also teaching therapeutic yoga. And I really came to a point as I saw my sister was almost certainly dying about 6 months before her death, where I just realized I was spread too thin. And there was just too much going on, too much for me to balance while navigating the toughest chapter of my life and with grief on the horizon. So about 6 months before she died, I decided to stop taking new therapy clients and continue to work with my existing caseload and try to just step back a little bit and catch my breath and take care of myself as best as I can. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so grateful that I have the ability to do that, and the support from my husband, and that these last 2 years almost, I've been able to slow down enough to really actively heal and grieve my sister's death. Where I am at right now is it's been almost 2 years since my sister died, and on my outline of topics for this channel has been to talk about grief. I have not been ready to talk about it. Ironically, in the very start of COVID, just days before my sister was diagnosed, I recorded therapeutic yoga videos. I was live streaming yoga at that time. If you're interested, it's on a very tiny YouTube channel called Mind Balance Yoga with Dr. Sarah Morrow. And I recorded videos on death, grief, and finding meaning through grief and loss. And that was really in response to the pandemic unfolding, really the incredible amount of stress and collective grief that the world was going through as life changed very suddenly and unexpectedly for everybody. And days later, literally days later, I found out my sister had metastatic cancer. And I have not been ready so far on this channel to talk about my journey through grief, but I feel ready to today. But I wanted to kind of post this little channel update. I feel like my videos have been very professional and kind of academic focused. And this video I'm going to record here in a few minutes is very personal and yet also very clinical and therapeutic. But I've just not been ready to sit in front of a camera and be vulnerable in this way and be able to kind of keep it together through discussing my sister's death and how I have approached navigating deep grief. And while my grief journey has been overwhelmingly difficult, I finally find my way back to a sense of balance, back to wholeness, as much as that's possible after a traumatic loss. And I find myself able to think about my sister and talk about her with more sense of love than loss. David Kessler says, "Healing does not mean forgetting. It means remembering with more love than pain." And I think I can say after nearly 2 years that I am able to share with you about my grief journey, connect with this shared part of life that we all face at some time, and hopefully guide others through finding meaning in their loss and in their life. As far as this channel, I never ask people to subscribe. I know notifications are annoying, and I don't even care if I have a lot of subscribers, but what I am hoping for is just more public awareness. And so if you just know anybody that would benefit from any of the content on my channel, if you just share with them the link and just say, hey, thought of your family, this information on anxiety or sleep or whatever it might be, parenting videos might be of use. So I would just love to see more viewership just for the sake of knowing that there's more outreach happening, more people getting some useful education and guidance. So I would love to see some continued growth. And then on the side note, I also would love for there to be a little bit more interaction on this channel. And if you have any questions or comments or specific topics you'd be curious to get my 2 cents on, feel free, to write a comment and I will always reply. And if you have a request for some content for me to put together, I work in this broad field of pediatric mental health, family therapy, therapeutic yoga, nutrition, food as medicine. I cook a lot. So if you have any food questions or anything specific, I'd be really happy to have more interaction and engagement with the community of people on this channel. I hope everybody is doing well. This is such an interesting time as we come out of this pandemic and try to find a new sense of normal. I know for me personally, I'm in a place of trying to find my meaningful path forward, really living intentionally, really every day deciding what is the best use of my time and energy. And right now, honestly, I'm in the thick of my last few years of having my kids at home. They're busy and they have activities and schoolwork, and I just find that I am needing to put them at the very, very top of my to-do list right now. I'm still chipping away at a minimal caseload, doing clinical work. And where I can and I'm able to, I want to keep creating content for this channel. And again, I'm trying to build this library of comprehensive, optimal mental health education. So perhaps being here at nearly 45 years old, I'm just really embracing this stereotypical midlife crisis of falling apart and needing to put the pieces back together again to intentionally, with clarity, choose the second half of my life, with meaning being that most essential guide. How to live meaningfully, how to be of service, and how to realize that this life is short and precious and to make the most of it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And thank you if you followed this channel as it's kind of come into being in the world. And again, I'd love to have your thoughts and feedback and questions. And I'd love for you to share any of this knowledge that might be useful to help somebody in need. Thank you so much for being here.